Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is January 1st. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Taking a look here at the infrared satellite imagery. Oh, and by the way, I am still in Mountain View, Hawaii. I'm flying back tomorrow, so hopefully on January 3rd, I'll do my normal briefing again at home and pick those up there. But anyway, taking a look at the infrared satellite imagery, you can see we have some additional systems on the way. We're going to bring some of these systems in here over the next few days. Looks like there's a little bit of a glitch there across the Gulf of Alaska, but I'll show you that in the weather models here in a moment. This was what I got this morning. So this, I was told by a ranger, this is a 600-foot cliff, and some of these lava bombs, they're right in here. They were coming up about 60% of the way up. So if that's a 600-foot wall, it's 360 feet. If it's 500, it's still 300 feet. Some of these lava bombs were reaching. If it's 400, I mean, it's still up over 200 feet. So yeah, it was extremely impressive this morning. You can see some of these lava bombs up there just look like they were in suspended animation, and these are actually really huge pieces of lava, and then they would come crashing down and make these really cool splattering marks. And it's built this cinder cone up here over the last few days, and it's gotten bigger each of the last 7 days that I've been out. So I had a good time here out in Hawaii, and still got one more night to go. Let's see if it even grows a little bit more, who knows. But anyway, taking a look here, I wanted to point this out because a little bit of light snow there for a Siskiyou summit, traced to 1 inch. It can make things slick. But you see Crater Lake, look at that, maybe up to 12 inches of snowfall there. So yeah, we got the snow levels down around 2,500 to 3,000 feet this evening for some of the Cascades there for southern Oregon, northern California. But taking a look here at the European, you can see that precipitation as it moves on in through tonight and into tomorrow morning, brings some light snow to the Cascades of Washington, eastern Washington, Idaho Panhandle, and then we got another system kind of quickly moving in there as well. Going to bring some decent snowfall amounts across some of the Washington Cascades. You can actually see it's not showing much here for the Oregon Cascades. Actually, a fairly decent pressure gradient on the south side of that, so some strong onshore flow there. Some locally windy conditions for the Oregon coast. Put that into motion, and quickly another system will be riding in as we go through this upcoming weekend. Some blustery conditions of that, but no major windstorm expected here across the region. And then we go off into the future a little bit more. We go off in towards next week, and you can see some of that ridging develop here, and it points the storm track a bit north, and we get kind of clipped by a system there, but we're looking 180 hours plus out now. So you can kind of see, though, we may start to get away from this more active pattern and change things up a bit, but who knows what's going to come after that. We'll take a look at some of the extended stuff here in a moment. If we take a look at the North American model, again, you can kind of see this precipitation riding up as we go on it through tomorrow morning. Washington Cascades, there could even be a little bit of freezing rain trapped there as well. And then we scroll off in towards Friday. And again, we're going to have some east winds. So we could have some freezing rain, maybe for some of the gorge there, and even for some of the North Oregon Cascades, maybe even some of the areas where some of this colder air with the east winds gets trapped in some of the pass areas there as we go on in through the day Friday. And you can see that low pressure there. Look at these pressure gradients. This is not bad for the Oregon coast. It's going to get blustery there as we go on in through Friday and Friday night. And if we take a look at these wind directions, let me bounce back out here so you can see more of that. Not used to my laptop setup as much as my home computer, as you can tell, but you can see we got some east winds coming as we go through tonight. The Washington Cascades, put that into motion, and then we'll wait for this next system to ride in here. And you can see some of the east winds coming through the gorge there, and that's what could trap some of the colder air in some of the pass areas as we get this east wind and we get this system moving in as we go on in through the day of Friday. Check it out. It gets kind of gusty here as you go up towards places like North Bend, maybe a Black Diamond Enumclaw towards the Stevens Pass Gap as well. Some strong east winds start to roll through there. And then you can see the southerlies take over, and then some windy conditions for the coast. And that's going to be, let me bounce back out here. So Friday, just afternoon there for the southwest Oregon coast, and then it comes towards places like Astoria, maybe Cape Disappointment, getting pretty breezy here as we go through Friday night on in towards Saturday. So you see the southerlies coming up towards Olympia and Tacoma here as well. So let's just check the wind gust swath and see what this shows. You can see, it shows 41 for Seattle. There's some gusty east winds in excess of 50 and some pretty windy conditions for the Oregon coast. But yeah, you can see, maybe down towards Kelso and maybe Chehalis there getting 40 plus. Willamette Valley getting some decent winds out of this storm as well. Up over 45 miles per hour, some of those individual gusts are showing up as. Now talking about mountain snow, 24-hour running total here. So probably the snowiest point for Snoqualmie Pass, for example, is probably as we go on in through Friday afternoon, the 24-hour totals ending there. And then we scroll off into the future a little bit more. Another system's going to come in this week, and then we start to dry things out a bit here. And some of that ridging starting to show up as we go through the extended forecast. But of course, we'll be watching and breaking that down daily. accumulated freezing rain. Just want to kind of show this and highlight it, that it is showing a little bit of this activity in there, maybe especially down towards the gorge areas, again, where some of that freezing rains, that colder air that gets trapped to those east winds could create some of that freezing rain. That shouldn't be out into any of the metro areas or anything like that, though. And if we take a look at total precipitation in inches, you can see that we are bringing this system in pretty wet here for the Oregon coast, some of the Oregon Cascades, southern Washington Cascades. Seattle gets over an inch as we go through Friday. But then as we go on through next week, again, we're going to slow down the precipitation train a bit. I'm scrolling through here. You notice we're not adding much precipitation here across the region. Maybe some systems clipping us here to the north, impacting western BC. Again, we'll break that down day by day. And now, something interesting here. There's the northern hemisphere. You can see Greenland there. You can see Japan and Siberia. There's Washington, Hawaii, and there's British Columbia right here. So if we put this into motion, you'll notice that some of this cooler air, actually, let me back this all the way up because I started a little bit too far out there. But you can see we start to build this ridging here. And you can see this warmer air move all the way in towards southern Alaska, some of the west coast of British Columbia. And you can see some of this cooler air moving down across the eastern portions there. So we get the warmth there. And again, they get the trough. There's the ridge and there's the trough back down into eastern portions of the U.S. A couple of shots of cooler air there. And we continue to wait our turn, but no sign of it. You can see some colder air up across Siberia and the North Pole, but we have not yet seen any kind of a pattern change here within our 2-week period. I'll show you this here, though, the CFS daily. Just to leave you with something here, but if we scroll off into the extended forecast, now we're looking at January 16th through the 23rd. You can see some troughing there for Western Canada, so maybe the CFS is on to something there. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. We'll just continue to watch this and break it down day by day. And once we get some agreement between the European weeklies and some of the CFS and stuff, it still doesn't mean that much, but maybe we'll get a pattern change here and get some cooler conditions. And this was issued today. You can see the West Coast 6 to 10 day. And look at that below average signal starting to show up. And that should be no surprise with what we just looked at with the weather models. And there is the 8 to 14 day. Again, similar all the way through the mid portion of January. And like I mentioned the past 2 days, La Nina, it's really cooled down across the equatorial Pacific. So La Nina may yet still get going. It's going to be close here, but that's actually moderate La Nina territory right there. And you can see kind of falling off the cliff there and bringing some of that cooler water. So, it is La Nina. So cross your fingers, snow lovers, and we'll continue to see if we're going to have any chances as we go on into the second half of January and on into February or maybe early portions of March. New drought monitor is out here as of December 31st. You see Washington, Oregon doing actually quite well. Not much drought out there to speak of. Idaho is doing better. There still is some extreme and severe drought across portions of western Montana. However, it kind of creeps into Idaho. And you can see for places like down in California, Southern California has now been introduced into that moderate drought. You might have been hearing about the rain difficulties they've been having down there. Channel's doing good. Yeah, we're on our way to 92,000 subscribers here. Again, much thanks to everybody out there. This is not possible without you. Hopefully you can hit 100,000 at some point this season. But otherwise, I will try to do my briefing here tomorrow before I head out and leave. But I should have the regular ones back up as we go on in through January 3rd. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys later.